Hey, Sparkles, welcome to another Sparkle Saturday. And I am so excited that I have one of my Sparkle sisters here, April Louise, and she's going to tell you a little bit more about herself. And we are tackling mom guilt today. And it's a very uh, close topic to me because I have definitely felt mom guilt. My son is now 28 years old, but I have definitely experienced that feeling many times as I was, raising my son. And we also want to touch on self care today as well. So let's get started. Let's get right into the questions. The first one is just, tell us who you are, where you're from, and what you do.
Yes, hello, amazing people, and thank you to my sister, my friend, Coach Kim. I am April Mays Rose, known in the literary world as April Louise, and I hail from the Bull City of Durham, North Carolina, in the United States. I am,
Yes.
yes, I'm an author, I'm a speaker, and most of all, I am a mom. And mom guilt touches me deeply because I've been there, I've done that. I am a product of my product.
Right. A product of your product. So first of all, let's talk about what inspired you to even, you know, talk about this whole topic of mom guilt.
So one day when I decided to write a book, or I was told by God to write a book because I was going through a phase of insomnia. And sometimes they say if you're not sleeping, it's not because it's stress, it's because God is trying to tell you something. So God was
Mm,
trying to tell me to write a book. So as I was contemplating on what to write, I was on Facebook, and as I was trolling on Facebook, being nosy, I came across three different posts of people that I know who was posting about mom guilt, or how they made a decision or had action and they felt it was like an epic mom fail. And I was like, you know what? I have experienced mom guilt. Let me just go more in depth into it. So as I researched mom guilt, I was like, all of these things that I am writing in this book, I have actually felt, but I didn't know it was mom guilt. So as I'm ministering to others, I'm also ministering to me. And one thing I would say is I wish I had identified that what I was going through, it wasn't a mini breakdown. It was more of mom guilt.
okay, that's interesting. So just some posts inspired you to write this book. That's
Yeah.
amazing. That's amazing. So let's get into this next one. In your book, you discuss various self care practices. Which one or which ones do you believe have the most significant impact on alleviating or managing mom guilt, and why?
So first of all, I want to say, for those who don't know what mom guilt is, mom guilt is that nagging feeling in the back of your head, or that little entity that's sitting on your shoulder and whispering to your ear that you are failing as a mom. And then it comes to the forefront of your mind, and it affects your thought process, it affects your emotions, and then it affects your behavior. So that is what mom guilt is. What I have experienced, and with talking with other moms, what they have experienced too, is some of the strategies to alleviate mom guilt. There's some short term, and then there's long term. So one of the biggest strategy that I believe in, and everybody should believe in, and this helps alleviate mom guilt as well as part of self-care, is you need to set boundaries.
Mm,
Everybody cannot have their front row seat to your life. Everybody
mm,
cannot have access to your life. Even your family and your closest friends, you may love them, but everybody cannot have that access to your life, because some people don't understand what you're going through. And this one is telling you this, and this one is telling you this, and this one is like, well, when I was a mom, I did A, B, C, D, E, F, G, but what
mm,
worked for them might not work for you. So you have to set
absolutely.
those boundaries on who has access to your life and to your child's life, especially as a
Mm,
new mom. because of course with a new mom, you're going to get a lot of advice. Some is warranted and some is unwarranted, but everybody's going to tell you how what you should feel and how you should raise your child. But you know what's best for your child, you know what's best for you, so you have to set those boundaries. So that's like the biggest thing that I can say is set your boundaries. And in setting boundaries, do not try to live up to other mothers' expectations. Everybody can't be Claire Huxtable. Everybody can't be June Cleaver. I'm dating myself. June Cleaver was from Leave It to Beaver. But everybody
Right.
can't be that. You have to be what you can be in the situation, in the environment that you are in. So, set those boundaries and stop, which may take a while, at stopping. Stop living up to other people's expectations.
That is really, really, really good advice. Um, I just got off of an interview myself, and we were talking about codependent behaviors
Mm-hmm.
because offering advice that hasn't been asked for, unwarranted advice, is a codependent behavior. And
Yes,
it's
it is.
one that I actually had to check myself on, and I had to stop doing it. I had to ask the permission, do you want my advice? Right. So I love it. Set those boundaries. So, for mothers who are juggling multiple responsibilities, what advice do you offer to integrate self care into their daily routine effectively?
So, being one of those moms, or used to be, because my child is grown now, so he is living his best life. So that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother
Right,
day. Is being a
right.
mom to an adult.
Mm-hmm.
So, but just being a busy mom, you have to again set boundaries. Set boundaries within yourself. Set boundaries, your household. Set boundaries with your work, because work will have you working overtime, and like you the only person that work there. If that's the case, I can
Mm-hmm.
just be an entrepreneur and work for myself. So you have to
Right.
set those work boundaries as well. But not only setting those boundaries, you have to find time, even if it's just 15 minutes out of the day, for yourself, your me, myself, and I time. If you got to set
Yes.
a clock, if you have to be in the car in your driveway and sit in your driveway before you walk through the doors to the chaos that may be waiting inside your house, um, you have to take time for yourself. So make time for yourself. You can come home and cook some hamburger helper and a salad for your children and your spouse or significant other, and then take yourself out to eat. Have that time for just you, because you need that time, because you can't pour from an empty cup.
Mm-hmm. Preach. Because you know what? And I had to learn that it took me a while actually to learn that I need the time away. And it took me a while to not feel guilty
Yes,
about having the time away too. Because when we take care of ourselves, we can better take care of others,
yes.
right? So, but it took me a while to not even feel guilty about that.
And that is a part of mom guilt, is feeling guilty that if you take time for yourself, that you're taking away from your child. But say you said, okay, my child's going to be with a grandparent or a sibling. Your child can be out having the time of their life,
Right.
having fun. They not even thinking about you, but now you feeling guilty because your child is not home with you. They out having a good time. This is your time for yourself, but you feeling guilty because you taking your time for yourself. That child ain't thinking about you. That child is
Right.
having a good time. And instead of us, like, say we at home, we have a few hours, our child is out and about having a good time. We have a few hours. Instead of us just woosawing, reading a book, relaxing, taking time, what are we doing? We cooking, cleaning, washing clothes, folding clothes, doing household things, doing work things. We doing everything instead of taking care of ourselves with the time that God has blessed us to have, because someone else is watching our child. That's what we do as
Hmm.
mothers. So
Yes.
that is a caveat to mom guilt, is feeling guilty because you're taking your time, taking time away, or you think you're taking time away from your child and you're really not.
Yes. And I can attest to that because because had such I had so many codependent behaviors. Like I was blessed that my son, would go, and because we lived in Richmond, my family is from Baltimore. So he would go and spend, some weeks in the summer in Baltimore when he was young, like maybe 9, 10 years old. And I didn't know what to do with my little stuff while he was gone. And like you said, yes, he was having the time of his life. I'm up in the house, I'm painting walls. I'm in here just finding something to do instead of just relaxing.
Yes.
Like go get a massage, like
Yes.
go find a pool to sit at, go to the beach. No, I'm in there. I'm painting walls. I'm redecorating myself now. I ain't paying nobody to do this manual labor. So I can relate. Like I have been there and done it and got the t-shirt and the hat.
Yes. One when you say that, one weekend my son, because I live in North Carolina, but I'm from Virginia. So my son went to Virginia and he was there the whole weekend. And when he came back, he had a whole new room. Had painted it, put up pictures, put the little borders around,
Right.
rearranged things. He had a whole new room over the weekend where I could have been just relaxing and taking care of myself. I'd have cleaned out closets, did all of
Mhm.
this. A whole new room.
I can relate. I can relate. And I'm so glad we're having this conversation because I'm sure there's some other moms out there who hopefully will learn from, our experiences and
Yes,
will do better.
please do.
Right. All right. So can you share an example where a particular self-care strategy significantly improve a mother's ability to cope with and overcome mom guilt? Like we talked about boundaries and we talked about the the comparing, right?
Yes, exactly.
Is there anything else that you want to share with the viewers?
So this to some viewers, it may seem odd, but I feel like what I'm about to say is very important because it's self-care for you as well as self-care for your child, and it brings us the mother, the child together, the bonding experience. So what I would say with that is have a mother-child date day or date night. So
Oh,
even if your child is an infant, of course, if the child is an infant, you're always there, you're cuddling the child, all of that. But just having that time was just you and your child and nobody else. The phone is off, you know, you could disconnect it from social media, you disconnect it from other people. It's just you and your child, especially when they get older to be toddlers and teenagers. Them preteen years, no joke. So they are no joke. So take to what I used to do, and of course I don't do it as often now because my child is grown. We don't even live in the same city, and he just adulting and just doing his thing, just doing his thing. And
mhm.
sometimes when we get together, we do have our mother son time, but we don't do it as much now because he's an adult. But what I've always done with him is I would say, okay, this weekend or next weekend, or put a weekend on the calendar. This particular day, we're gonna have mother son date day or date night, and you get him to choose. Get him three options so it can be in your budget. You get him to choose what he would like to do, and then you do what he want to do. We have a here in North Carolina, we have a place called Frankie's, which is upscale from Chuck E. Cheese. So I mean, they have like a little
Okay.
amusement park. It's like real upscale. So if he wanted to go to Frankie's to play games or to eat and play games, or even if he just wants to sit at home and do an anime marathon, which I am not into anime. I know more about anime than I should know. I am not into anime. But if he want to just sit at home, get his little popcorn drink and have an anime marathon, then that's what he wanted to do. That's what we did. And that was his time and my time together. In that time, you're a mother, but you're not mothering, meaning you're not asking like 21 questions like, how was school today? Why you do this? Did you do this? Did you clean your room? Da da da. You're not, quote unquote, for lack of a better word, nagging. It's just you and him. Now
Right.
sitting together. If he want to talk, he'll talk. If you don't want to talk, then don't talk. You may say, well, how's things going in school? Leave it like that. But you're not probing. because they feel like this is my time with my mama. We're doing something that I want to do instead of something she's telling me I have to do. And trust me, you will learn a lot from your child. You think you know your child? You know your child until you start implementing that bonding one-on-one time. And then as they get older, they're more apt to tell you things about their life that you didn't even ask for. Some things you don't really want to know, but they tell you, but they tell you anyway, and you're like, I didn't even have to ask. He just come to me naturally
Right.
and say, Mom, did you know this was going on or that? You start having intellectual conversations as they get older, just with that time. And when I say that time, it don't have to be a whole day. It could be a half a day, it could be an hour, it could be two, just whatever they want to do. And that's for the mothers that have multiple children. I suggest that you spend time with all of them together, but then you also find time to spend time with them apart so you can get to know your child individually apart. And when I say nobody else is involved, not my husband, not my mother, nobody. It was just me and him.
Mm-hmm.
Me and him. And that is self-care for your child, because your child is knowing, okay, my mom really loves me, and she's paying attention to me, and she's taking time out of her busy schedule to spend this quality time with me, and nobody else is allowed in this time. And it's self-care for you because you're becoming closer with your child. So that's another
Right.
strategy I say use is mother-daughter day, or mother-son day, or mother twins day, or how many children you have. Like I said, if you have multiple children, spend time with all of them together, but then find that time. With multiple children, it can be hard, but even if you spend an hour or two separately on different days with your child.
Okay. I love that. I actually used to do that. I didn't call it a date, like, but like every Friday we did something together.
Yes.
Sometimes it was pizza night and a movie, or sometimes it was like we would go out on a Saturday. But every week we did something.
Yes.
So I love that. I love that. And yes, you're right. They will tell you stuff. Some stuff I had to say, look,
Yeah.
you need to talk to your dad about that. And I thought I was the only one that used husband. I got that from one of our sorors, Soror Wiggins. I don't
Yeah.
like I don't like saying X because he's not X'd out of anything. I just never liked that term. So I always say husband too,
Husband.
even though he doesn't like it, but that's what I say.
But that's what it is. What
Right.
formerly known as.
Right. Right. He formerly known that.
So yeah, but even
Love
he
that.
knew, even he knew this is their time together. So,
Right.
I'm not gonna intrude, I'm not gonna ask. I'm just gonna let them have, their time together. And we have our time together, and then we come on back into the house. Or if we at the house and watching movies, you can't come into the room because it's me and his time. So
Right. Right. I love it. So, how do you suggest navigating like the pressures from society? They often cause this mom guilt that we have, and often they hinder self care for mothers. So, how would you suggest we, manage it?
back in the day, everybody was housewives. That's what the mother did. You had the children, you
Hmm.
stayed at home with the children, you took care of the children, you took care of the house. But then, us women, we started working. But the expectation, even though you working, you still had that expectation of you got to
Yep.
come home, take care of them children, take care of this
Yep.
household, make sure everything is running smoothly. And you don't have time. You don't have time for yourself, and that's why I said some people think they're having like a nervous breakdown, and it's actually mom guilt. Even if you work from home, you working from home and you have to focus on your work at home, and your children may be in the house, but you feel like you're taking away from them because you're working. It's just everybody has expectations. Like I said, other moms have expectations on moms. Society have expectations on women, period. Whether you're a mom or you're not a mom. Because if you're not a mom, they want to know when you're going to become a mom.
Right.
Everybody might not want to be a mom. Like, how old are
Right.
you? You in
Right.
your 30s and you don't have no children. What's wrong with you? There's nothing wrong with me. So that's what I say is the biggest thing is to live up to your standards, not other people's comparing of you, and not other people's expectations. Everybody can't be Angelina Jolie. We might not have, the energy, the mentality, the finance to have like multiple children and just be great.
Mhm.
Some of us do, some of us don't. That's not my calling. God bless me with one child. Thank you, Jesus.
Mhm.
So that's not so. It's just, which takes a while, but living up to your standards and not other people's comparison and expectations of you, I think, is one of the, the biggest things. I mean, I raised my child kind of like my mom raised me, but I also raised my child different than my mom raised me, because one, my child is a male. My
Right.
mom raised daughters. I'm raising a son. We were
Mhm.
Generation X. He's Generation Z. There's totally different
Right.
generations. We
Totally
didn't
different.
have the digital world. They grew
Right.
up in the digital world. We
Mhm.
thank God when we did stuff, we didn't have to worry about social media and cameras and things. They have social media cameras, cyber bullying, all this other stuff that's going on. So with the values, it's still the same thing, but I've had to raise my child. My sisters are raising my nieces and nephews different because of the time. So, if my mother or grandmother or aunt say, well, well, we raised you this way, that way. Yes, you did. But we was in this generation. This is a whole different generation. This
Right.
this no limit soldier generation. They different. So, so my expectations, I can't live up to my mother and my grandmother's expectations the way they may want me to, because first I raised the male, and it was a whole different generation. So that's one of
So
the
true.
biggest things, is getting that I have to live up to this person's expectation um out of my mind. Or you have a boss because you working, and they could care less that you're a mother. They just want you to do what you need to do at work. You have to let them know. Or I know it's hard out here to find a job, but you gotta let them know, look, I'm not gonna be sitting here working 12, 14 hours, and I have a child at home that could be by themselves when they get after school. You gotta, I ain't trying to have social services knocking at my door because I'm leaving my child at
Right.
home, because I'm
Mhm.
out here working. So you just have to let them know. And
Mhm.
they can't by law, they can't deter you. That's discrimination. They can't say, oh, well, we're gonna let you go, or da 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 da, because you're a mother, because that's discrimination. So
Mhm.
um you just have to, instead of living up to everybody else, as long as if you happy and your child happy, who cares if everybody else ain't happy? As long as you happy and your child is happy.
That part. I love it. Okay, so in your experience, what are some common misconceptions about self-care that you want to dispel through your book and your work of with mom guilt?
So one common misconception is you cannot pour from an empty cup. You just cannot.
Mhm.
0 plus 0 is 0. 0 times 0 is 0. 0 subtract 0 is 0. You can't divide 0 into 0, but if you could, it would be 0. So nothing from nothing is nothing. You cannot pour from an empty cup. My analogy is, you driving on E, you driving on fumes. I used to do that a lot when I'm, gas,
Me
and I'm
too.
like, oh, I know my car. I know my car. The light that came on that already gave you a warning sign. But in my mind, I know my car. I could pass 2, 3 gas stations to get to another gas station and then fill it up. And then one day your car is like, I'm gonna show you, sister, and just stop. That that is how your body is. Your body is giving you warning signs. If you're irritable for like no reason, you're tired all the time, you just irritable, you snapping at everybody, you snapping at your children, your people in your household, you go to work, somebody say good morning, you're like, what's so good about it? That person didn't do anything to you. You're irritable, you have brain fog, you can't think straight, you're stressed, your body is tensing up. They are all signs that you need to take care of yourself.
Mhm.
But us as women, we keep going and going and going and going and going. We have no more to give, but we keep going to make sure not only our children, but our household, everybody around us is good except for us. And then
Mm-hmm.
we end up in the hospital with an IV in our arm, and we want to know, we embarrassed, we don't want to tell nobody that we in the hospital, and everybody, because people want to know what
Right.
she in the hospital for. And you in the hospital because you fell out because you're exhausted, because you're not taking self-care.
Right.
So a myth is self-care is being selfish. Well, if self-care is being selfish, then be selfish. You need to take care of yourself. You can't take care of somebody else
That
if you
is a
can't take
common
care of yourself. So
misconception.
yeah, so
Yes.
people say, "Oh, you being selfish, you being selfish." Yep, I sure am. I'm being selfish with my
Mm-hmm.
mentality, my spirituality, my physicality. I'm being selfish. So
Yeah. Yeah. That is a common, I would say, a common misconception. People do think when they take that time out for themselves to practice self care, that is being selfish. But I don't understand it. I don't get it. But I'm with you. Call me selfish because I'm going to
exactly.
do it. Matter of fact, I'm not going to work tomorrow because I need a mental health day.
You need your mental.
So, yeah, as soon as this interview, because, like, for the viewers who don't know, I'm in Abu Dhabi, which is about an hour from Dubai, and
Mhm.
it's already after 10 p.m. here. So, I'm going to turn off my phones so I can sleep late. And I'm just going to relax tomorrow. Take me a nice bubble bath. I'm going to do some treatments. I'm going to do one of them Korean masks my students
Okay.
gave me. I'm just gonna just take some time for me. So
So
yeah, I'm gonna
be
be selfish
selfish.
tomorrow.
Yeah. Be selfishly spoiled. And that's what you
Exactly.
have to do.
Yep. So for our viewers of Sparkle Saturdays who are seeking some immediate steps towards self-care, what would be your top three actionable tips to start today?
Okay, so I'm gonna give you three, but one of them gonna have
Okay.
an A and one of them is gonna have an A and B component.
Okay.
So actually, it's gonna be four.
All
So
right.
number one, A, is to meditate. However you meditate, if you have to get up earlier than usual to start your day, do meditation, read the word, spend time with yourself and God. So
Okay.
meditate. You have to, during your lunch break, take a few minutes from your lunch break, go sit in your car and meditate, woosah, do that. At night, once the kids are in the bed, everybody quiet. If you need to take that time to meditate so that you can be able to sleep, then do that. So that's 1A. 1B is to exercise. That goes along with meditation. Because exercise release all these endorphins. It's supposed to make you feel better. So exercise. Even if you have an infant, put the infant in a stroller, and if you're able to walk around your neighborhood, walk around, your neighborhood. Jog. If you live in a complex that has a gym, you already paying for it. Go use it.
Right.
Get on the treadmill. So part B to that is to exercise. So of course, one is meditation with exercise. Talk to God. You can drive around, just you and God in the car. Listen to you spiritual music, or listen to there's apps out here that have relaxation music. Talk to God. He would love to hear from you. He know what's going on, but he would love to hear from you. So that's one.
Mhm.
Two is set those boundaries, because everybody, whether it's family, friend, whoever, does not need to have access to your life. Everybody can't have a front row seat. Some people got to sit in the balcony. So that's two. And then three, spend that quality bonding time with your child, because that's self-care for both you and your child.
Okay.
The other strategies that you can find in my book would take a little bit longer, like
Okay.
finding your tribe, if it's too bad, seeking out therapy. So that takes a little bit longer, but those three is what you can do starting today.
Okay. Do you have your book you can show the viewers and tell the viewers exactly what the book is called, and then at the end we're going to talk about how they can keep up with you.
Okay, so this is my book, Mom Guilt is the guide to understanding what it is, why it exists, and how to manage it. And you can get a copy on my website. I was going to give you my email. I'm sorry. My website, lifeisamaze.com. And maze is spelled MAYS. So that's lifeisamaze.com.
Okay. All right. Before we get to our last question, is there anything else that you want to say for the viewers?
So, moms, you are amazing. You may not hear it all the time. People might not tell you. You might not never hear it, but you are amazing. Regardless of your situation, you are doing the best that you can do for you and your child or children. Do not let anybody dim your light. Your child may not think, especially if your child's a teenager. Let's just say that because teenagers hate all adults. They don't want to be bothered with no
Right.
adults. We don't understand what they're going through. They act like we ain't never been teenagers before. Mom is different. But even with your teenager, you are doing an amazing job. And trust me, when your teenager gets older, they'll look back at what all you've done and they're going to
Mhm.
appreciate you for it. They might not appreciate you for it now, but eventually they'll appreciate you for it. So, Mom, you are amazing. Just remember you're amazing and you got this.
Yes. Thank you for that. My son is 28 now, and he has definitely given me my flowers. He
Oh,
he has told me
yay!
on more than one occasion how much he appreciates me, and even when we said no, how much he appreciated that because it helped him grow.
Yes,
So I just
yes,
thank you for that. I'm
yes, yes.
sure that resonate with all the moms out there, and they need to hear it. They need to hear it more. So yes, moms, I concur. You are amazing. So April Louise, how
Yes.
can the viewers keep up with you and how can they support your movement? Because I feel this is more than a book. This is a movement that
Yes.
you are, instituting. So how can they keep up with you and support you?
So, of course, go to my website, lifeisamaze.com. You can go to my Instagram, which is April Mays Rhodes. Mays is Mays. Rhodes is Rhodes. So, April Mays Rhodes. And I also have, you can go to Facebook under Life is a Maze Skill Building, as well as I have a Facebook group for moms called Navigating the Motherhood Maze Together.
Oh, okay. So if you will email me all of those, I want to
Yes,
put those
ma'am.
in the show notes too. So that way, anyone who's watching the replay, or if anyone just missed any of that, they'll also see it in writing. So, yes, email that to me as well. Thank you so much
You're
for
welcome. Thank
joining me
you.
here on Sparkle Saturdays. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. And I just look forward to all the amazing things that you are doing and that you are going to do.
And I want to say I am so proud of you, Coach Kimberly.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you so much. And we'll have to, have you on again at some point.
I will do. I'll be glad to come back.
All right. Well, enjoy your day. I think it's daytime there. Enjoy your
Yes,
day.
yes. Good evening, everybody in Abu Dhabi.
Bye.
Bye.